What's that?
We applaud the audience. They'd sat for 5.5 hours. We thought they deserved it. Remember, we were all applauding.
At the night of 100 stars, yes. Wasn't that a mind-blowing experience, to coin a phrase?
Yes. It blew me out.
Yeah. It put my head in a whole nother bag.
I mean, you were either running into Helen Hayes or Marcello Mastroianni or Elizabeth Taylor or, I mean, Paul Newman. I was just like that.
Night of 100 Stars, which I suppose almost everybody's heard of by this time.
It was 268 or 228, something like that.
Yes, well, I think Alexander Cohen had an interesting psychology going from the beginning in that it got to the point where if you weren't among the 100,
yes,
it began to be that you weren't among the other people wanted in and so on. But it was fascinating to see all those people. And it got to the point where you forgot what the real world was like, because in the real world, you can turn and see a face you don't recognize. And backstage, there would be Jimmy Stewart talking to Orson Welles, stumbling over Paul Newman, as you said, and there were Alice Faye and Joel McCrea and Betty Davis, and it was astounding. And I didn't realize it was you, because they had other people dressed in that way that you were, which people will see on television. Was it rude of me to come up to you in that fantastic costume and say trick or treat?
No. Which one? Was that the black one or the bride?
The one with the pointed...
The bride, yes.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't rude. It was just very you.
Yeah. Sometimes they're synonymous.
Yes.
Cher, you have a reputation for an almost frightening honesty that some people find disarming. People always complain in this business of people not being real, and then when they are, it shakes them up.
They don't like it, right?
That's right. Did you miss at all the big show that you had before? Do you ever miss that, spending all week doing the big production and so on?
I sometimes, actually, I don't really ever think about it. Sometimes it was fun to be with the people that I was working with, but we did it for a long time, really, 6 years, you know, and it's a lot to do, and it's not what I wanted to do forever. I mean, yeah. I'm really happy doing this now, and I like to do different things. I don't like to just stay in one particular thing, and I did it. I mean, I really did it, and I enjoyed it, and now I'm finished.
Can anybody truly enjoy weekly television of that size, a huge show like that? Is it sheer hell, or is it?
Well, it's difficult. You have to kind of give up. You have to give up your life outside of it, because an hour variety, you're learning. You know, I would spend every Wednesday night. I would be at Bob Mackey's for 3.5 hours. After I got through with my work, which I got through with at about 7, and I'd be up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you just get a little bit fried. You know, you don't really know what you're doing it for after a while.
Yeah. So you're a little zombie-like and wondering what's going on.
And you want to do a good job. You really want to do a good job, but sometimes it's really difficult to do a good job, and then all of a sudden you're seeing the end product up there, and it's not really very good, and you think, well, why did I start this in the first place, you know?
Yeah.
So on the Sonny and Cher show, it was very fun and a lot easier, because Sonny took half of the load, and we had all the other guys that were on the show, and plus 2 guests. It was a lot more difficult when I did my own show.
That's interesting to hear, because some people say, oh, it was just wonderful. I loved every minute of it. And
I loved it. I mean, I hate people that become famous and then start to complain, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't stand all these people bothering me, and, you know, I mean, you know, which is ridiculous. But sometimes work, you know, is hard. It's like everybody else's work. Sometimes you just don't like it, or sometimes you're just tired, you know? You don't want to sell shoes, you know? Sometimes I don't want to sing.
That's
right. But I love my work. I mean, I would do my work for nothing.
That's a real tribute to the business, I suppose. No, it's a tribute to you, that you like what you do.
I
feel almost guilty about getting paid for it?
No, I don't feel guilty at all. I love money.
I thought I saw a possibility for a savings here.
No, I love getting paid for it, and I think it's a ridiculous amount of money, and I'm just so happy that I can make it. Yeah. And I would do it for free. I would do it for free, but I like getting paid for it.
As long as they're going to pay you, what the hell.
Right, what the hell, you might as well do it.
You talked last time about how your stand against drugs actually hurt you in a way, because it was unpopular stand to take at a time when rock, I don't really think of you as rock in the sense of acid rock, But a large segment of the population that bought records wanted pro-drug music and personal attitude, I suppose. You didn't have that. Did any manager say to you, I think we're going to have to go in the other direction, and can you, pose with a joint or something?
No, nobody ever said that. Sonny was really, just deadly opposed to it. So Sonny really was managing us too, so no one could really tell him, and he wouldn't do anything he didn't want to do.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous. I mean, you really shouldn't do in this business anything that you really don't believe in. I mean, sometimes you have to, bend what you think is right, I've bent sometimes, and the older I get, the more I really feel that I got to stick to what I really believe is right.
Yeah. How old have you gotten?
35.
Recently?
No. God, I'm going to be 36. This is terrible. I was 35 in May.
Now, there are people out there thinking it's rude of me to ask, but I feel that confronted with your honesty, I'm a little nonplussed, because I don't know whether to take advantage of it, as some people
go
would.
ahead. Take advantage of it. Let me tell you something. You can ask anything, but I will answer anything, so just be prepared, because you might get the answer to a question.
That's the scariest offer I've ever had. But I don't really want to take advantage of your honesty somehow. I think you should take advantage of people's hypocrisy. If I did, I would probably say something like, the night of 100 stars, how many of them had you slept with? No, I'm sorry, Bill Buckley would say that.
Right.
I wouldn't ever say that.
Unfortunately, I hadn't slept with any of them.
Come on.
I swear to God. And if you believe that, there's a bridge. No. No, actually, let me be careful now.
Remember that.
One.
Really?
Yes, one. God, I didn't think I had, but one.
All right, now what is the obvious next question?
Why? Because he was there. It's like mountain climbing. Why?
You
because
promised.
I was young and I didn't know any better.
You promised you would keep our secret. Oh, that is funny, though. What do you wonder about me in terms of...
The night of 100 stars, how many have you slept with?
Come on, that's been asked already. Well, all right,
Isn't
none.
that funny? I didn't even realize it, because I told you none back when we were talking about backstage, but I just realized that that was not the truth.
Same with me. I napped with one.
The 1960s, a decade of growth for...
Do you have any nightmares?
Yes.
I'm fascinated with dreams
One
and
night,
nightmares.
Not long ago, I dreamt I was taking a French test, and I was stealing the answers from Sandy, except she didn't know the right answers either.
Sandy Dennis was in the
Yes,
play with you.
yes.
Oh, that is...
I was trying to
interesting.
copy down Sandy's answers, but I realized in the middle that her answers were wrong. And it's scary for me to come and do something that I absolutely know nothing about in a town where I don't even get to go, like, let's say, to New Haven or, something like that. I don't get to go try it out. I'm just right out there. And I had a choice to either do it or not do it. But even though I made the choice to do it, it doesn't mean that I'm not scared out of my mind.
So you're willing to admit that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with being scared.
No. Should we analyze that dream?
No.
Because, dreams are always disguised. You've read Freud, and you know
Yes,
that...
but I don't think that was very disguised at all. Bob was the teacher, the French teacher.
Oh, no. The dream means, because they're so disguised, that you want to buy 200 pfennigs worth of Braunschweiger and don't have the nerve. See, that's a switch on the Freudian. Freud. Well, that's about it.
That's a half an hour?
No. No, but Maximilian Schell was here one time, and he pointed out that you never let a pause happen in television, and that when you do, people get very uneasy, and he made me hold hands with him for 1 minute and stare into his eyes.
That must have been an experience.
Yeah, excruciating, but fascinatingly proved a point that silence can be very expressive and so forth. Have you ever had, Cher, the true actor's dream, the cliche actor's dream that almost every actor gets, that he can't imagine how he or she got to opening night without learning any of the lines, that the makeup won't go on, that they've started the play upstairs, that maybe if you learn a couple of the lines now and you spill the powder on you and you're sweating and so on. Have you ever had that one?
No. And God willing, I won't have it.
Let me describe it to you.
No.
Could you give us a tour of your body in terms of tattoos? Don't you have a few?
Yes, I do. How would you like? What kind of a tour would you like? Would
well-
you like the cheap tour, or would you like the expensive tour?
The guided one, I think.
Well, I mean,
No,
you
but I
mean-
mean, every man, the first thing he wants in a woman is tattoos.
Of
and so
course.
I thought it might be interesting to know why one gets them.
I don't know why. It just seemed like the thing to do. I'm very impulsive, and I have 3 tattoos now.
I can't see any of them.
Well, that's because you can't see any of them. I have one tattoo here on my ankle of a chrysanthemum. It's a Japanese tattoo.
Was it done by a Japanese artist?
No, it was done by an American artist that studied it with a Japanese master. Tattooing in Japan, as you know, is a little bit different. It's not like Mom and, you know, Hell's Angels and all that. People are very serious about their tattoos there. And so I have this one here, and then I have a beautiful tattoo about here of a, what is that? A tiger lily, a lily. It's beautiful. And then I have one tattoo behind me.
How far?
Very far behind
Way
me.
back there.
Yes. And that is flowers and a butterfly.
Is it excruciatingly painful? Or
No, I don't find it painful at all. But I don't know, some people, I mean, you know, it's not as strange as people might think. I mean, in the history of man, tattooing has been more the common thing to do than the uncommon thing to do. I mean,
Yes, it was
you know,
unusual not to have one.
right. So, and I don't know what makes people, I mean, I can understand people, like my friend said, we're never going to get to a Jewish cemetery now because it's against the religion to be tattooed, and if you're
You can't
Jewish.
be in consecrated ground or something if you've been tattooed.
I don't really know why. I would never recommend it to anybody, but since this body belongs to me for however long I'm here, I figured that I liked it, and I don't really know why. It just seems beautiful to me in a strange way, and I mean, I'm sure it's crazy. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't make any sense to anybody, and I wouldn't recommend it, but I liked it.
What do you recommend? If you're
I don't recommend anything. I recommend Levi jeans. That's about the only thing that I can recommend.
the old jeans.
Yes.
Yeah, but it put a lot of people out of work. You know, you were talking the other night about how people have images of you, of what you're like, and some people think you're a freak, and some people think you're zany, and some people probably think you're drug-riddled, and all those things that they think of as being in any sense connected with the music world, rock, and so on. When I say do you have any morality, I don't mean it funny-like, but do you have a moral code for yourself
Yes.
in terms of...
It's not one that I think about all the time, but I try and be nice to people, and I try and tell the truth, and I think that those are the only things. I mean, not that I'm nice constantly, because God knows I'm a bitch on wheels sometimes, you know, you just are. But I really try to be nice, and I try to always tell the truth, and always think about what I'm doing and make sure that it's, you know, that I really can do it with good conscience.
What about all the tremendous opportunities in the business that almost nobody can resist when they get as successful and famous and are as attractive as you are to freak out? Did you have any tendencies toward that? I mean, today, morality means, if you're conservative, it means you only have an affair with one person at a time.
I was reading something, I did that People magazine, and this man wrote in those letters. I was really interested to read one of the letters, and the guy said, you know, that I was promiscuous in a way, which I thought to be kind of hysterical, but I'm not very promiscuous, and I don't know why. Sometimes I'd like to be, but it just doesn't work out that way, you know? It just doesn't. I can't just meet someone and shake their hands and say, all right, where's the bedroom or the floor or whatever, you know? But you know, I mean, I don't really care what anybody else does. I mean, it's not, you know, whatever people do is their own business. I just kind of, I try and kind of stay very straight, because I'm afraid that I might have a tendency to be crazy if I ever really went off. But then I don't think I really would be.
Right, did I hear you say one time I inherited a sort of Puritan streak from my old man?
No, I don't think I don't know what I
said
inherited
that.
from him. I think I inherited from my mother, who was married 8 times. The two don't make a lot of sense, but my mother is kind of puritanical in a way.
Yeah. Could you ever save anybody else, do you think? You knew Janis, I'm sure, and maybe Jimi Hendrix and some of the other people who bit the dust in the drug years. Did you ever feel any obligation to try to straighten them out, or
No,
Tell 'em
I
anyway.
really do. I don't. It's like kind of none of my business. I mean, if someone was like a really close friend, I've had a few close friends that I finally just said, you make me sick. Get yourself together. People can really, people can only do something that they want to do, and it's really none of my business to make people do anything that they don't, If you want to take drugs, that's what they want to do, and they will do it.
Mm-hmm.
No, all your good intentions don't mean anything.
Yeah.
We received this today.
Where should we really put you? In what category? I don't think of you as a rock star in the sense of, although you music with a rock beat, you were never really acid rock, or even several steps down from acid rock, I suppose. Do you think of yourself as a pop singer who was also popular, happened to be popular in the rock era?
Yeah, kind of. It's strange. It's hard to put me anywhere, and yet I'm here.
Yeah. Can you write?
Yes.
I have that feeling.
I'm really good.
Yeah.
I'm really a good writer. I think someday when I get tired and slow down, I might do that.
What would you write? It's fiction?
I think I would like to write, I don't know. First I would write something that I really knew about. And I wrote a television show that I did, and I wrote a lot of that, and I was really pleased I got into the Writers Guild, which for me was like the best card I have, because you really have to write something to get in there. And I don't know what I could do. I'm very interested in religion, and I think someday I might write something about that.
Interested in it? Without practicing it?
I practice it in my own way. I don't belong to an organized religion, just because, to me, I know I'm not going to make a lot of friends with this, but to me, organized religion is kind of like country clubs that people belong to, and I just think that people are all... This is going to sound really weird, but I feel like I'm every person that I've ever met, old people, young people. I feel really connected to every person I've ever known, and I feel that religion is one of the single most causes to divide people up for no real reason.
Yes, it's often a way of dividing or excluding people.
I just don't believe that there's any real reason for it. I'm sure if God exists in a certain way that we feel that he does exist, I think that he doesn't really care one way or another what religion we belong to. I can't imagine that if you're not a Catholic, you're not going to get into heaven, if there's such a place, or that a good woman or a good human being is any better because they belong to a certain faith. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
If you knew you had a fatal disease, do you think you would pray?
Sure. I don't have a fatal disease now, I don't think, and I pray.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're religious in that sense, but not in
Yes.
the organized way. Did you get involved in the censorship fights? There were some on your show, weren't there? Didn't they cut a big number one time that was too sexy or something?
Yes, Raquel Welch and I were friends before that number, and then after that number we were no longer friends. But there wasn't anything that I could do because she was touching herself, and she's got so much to touch that they got very nervous
It's
and
hard
cut out
for
the
her
number.
not to, isn't
Yes.
it? Yeah. And the censor said that's too erotic?
Yes.
Yeah? Whose idea was it then? Whose job was it then to fight for it? Did Sonny have to go and meet with them and
No,
say
this was the
silly?
Cher show, so it wasn't. But I called Freddie Silverman. I did as much as I could, but, it's crazy.
Why would she not be friends with you as a result of that?
Because she thought that I had something to do with it and thought that I could have saved the number, but I just couldn't. I did what I could, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of, they cut numbers on me. They wouldn't let me say lover in a sketch. I had to say boyfriend. And I said, what is the difference?
Well, didn't they see things at rehearsal? Shouldn't they have seen that Raquel was, or did she fail to touch herself at rehearsal?
Well, I guess she failed to touch herself. Well, she was wearing something different in rehearsal than she wore on the actual filming.
Mm-hmm. It's funny to think of the language barriers that there were back then. I can remember
I
when
was the first woman to show her belly button on television. That doesn't seem like a big thing.
Lord, I forgot that. Yes. It's the biggest news since...
That will probably be on my tombstone, no matter what else I do. That'll be it.
Right, you're the woman who broke the belly button barrier on television. And yet you haven't seen that many of them since, as I recall. I
No,
guess
but
that's
you
all
see-
right, though.
See everything else.
Has anyone ever explained what is obscene about the belly button? Doesn't almost everybody have
It's the
one?
gateway to something more, I guess. I don't know. First the belly button, tomorrow God knows what
Oh,
else.
yes, it's the sequence
Right,
theory of
right.
conspiracy theory or whatever.
They used to give me really hassle all the time with everything that I wore. And then right after Charlie's Angels went on, and it was like everything was showing.
Today, those things look conservative.
Yes.
The show's in syndication and reruns, I think, isn't it?
Tonight on The Ed Sullivan Show.
Catch When Things Were Rotten, followed by Ferris Bueller. It's fantastic TV, tonight on Decades.
Are you superstitious at all? It seems to me almost everybody in the business is.
No.
That's a relief.
I figure what's going to happen is going to happen one way or another.
Yeah. Sandy Dennis tell you that she and I were in high school together?
No, but you did.
Did I? Did I tell you a number of times?
No, you just told me once, and I asked you,
Oh.
what was she like?
That's right. It seems like months ago.
Yes, it was only 10 minutes.
Sandy and I, no, I was not. Now tell the truth.
It was
well
40
over
minutes
40
ago.
minutes ago.
All right. Well, I know when you get
that's
older,
right.
things, you lose your
Yeah,
perspective.
time begins to telescope after a while. Sandy and I were maybe the only two people in Lincoln High School in Lincoln, Nebraska, who consistently could not get a date. Or sat home on Saturday night and watched show of shows while everybody else went to football games and stuff.
But don't you believe...
I mean, we didn't know each other.
I know,
except for
but don't you believe that... I know a lot of people that weren't popular in school or weren't the, you know, the considered beauty or whatever, but it really spurs people on to achieve things, you know? I mean, a lot of those football players are sitting at home now, you know, drinking
Yeah.
beer, watching television.
Do you buy that? Do you think if you'd been born into a sort of normal middle-class family and been the cheerleader and Queen of the May and
I think so,
president of
because
the
I've
class,
always...
you
I
wouldn't
have
have
to
been...
prove myself constantly, just to make sure that I'm doing something.
Do you think you're attractive?
In a strange sort of a way,
Is it really?
yes.
Yeah. You are, I can assure you. I just don't want to cast you. You have to have large breasts in this play, don't you?
Yes.
Is it true that weightlifting can... What are you gonna...
Unless I could bench press 1,000 pounds.
Is that something odd to get used to? Because I guess you wear rubber
Yes.
padding or something
Yes, I do.
to suddenly have...
Yes, because I go to
visible
fold
where you
my
weren't
arms.
before.
Now here, you know, I've got no problem folding my arms. When I fold my arms on these guys, my arms are like up there. I feel like I'm a Russian Cossack or something all the time.
Well, you aren't a Cossack, but you are delightful. And can you tell from that corny wording that we've come to the end
Yes,
of
that you've
another
run out of
half
time
hour?
again.
Thank you, Cher, and please come back. And why have you had your fingers crossed through all of these lies you've been feeding me? See you next time.
The following is a paid advertisement from Time Life.
From Television City in Hollywood,
Ladies and gentlemen, Sonny and Cher.
I'm constantly being asked what makes a good marriage, you know, so...
Why don't you ever tell me?
They were the perfect couple.
I'm the fall guy. I know I'm getting it tonight.
No, you're not.
And they always made beautiful music together.
Listen, baby, just call my name. I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't nobody high enough. Ain't nobody low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe.
They were America's favorite, fabulous, dazzling duo.
They say we're young and we don't know.
Sonny and Cher.
Well, I don't know if all that's true, 'cause you got me and baby, I got you. Babe, I got you, babe.
Introducing I Got You, Babe, the best of Sonny and Cher, exclusively from Time Life.
Quack.
For the first time ever, you can own all of Sonny and Cher's greatest moments in never-before-released episodes straight from the vaults. All the Sonny.
I want you to know I may be married, but I'm not easy. When we get home, I'm expecting a headache.
All the Cher.
I'm back in good old L.A. to promote my new hit single, the 1812 Overture, you know.
Including her famous belly button.
Still there?
Yes.
And her famous characters.
I'm going to give you my number.
Okay.
And I want you to call me. I mean it now.
Yes.
If a man answers, hang up.
Why, doesn't Harry like you to get cold?
No, honey, that means that Harry's not home.
You want to be careful with my gongs, buddy.
All the hilarious comedy, electrifying music, and incredible guest stars.
With special guest, Tim Conrad.
Whistle! I love him. He's my favorite. Lord Elton, you silly old twit.
Who are you? I'm Jerry Lewis, and I'm being held prisoner on the Sonny and Cher show.
All in action-packed shows.
You think you've got it bad? I married the milkman.
That have never before been available on DVD.
This is America.
From the Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour.
That's one thing about Cher. She knows when she's wrong, and she's learned to live with her mistakes, really. She has.
To the ultimate lovable diva flying solo. Sonny and Cher had that certain something you always wanted to watch.
Cher, we always come out here and we always shake hands like that.
Yes.
In fact, why don't we come out and kiss? We never come out and kiss anymore. I mean, we used to be married.
I know, we shook hands a lot then, too.
They glittered, they sparkled, and they always knew just how to entertain you.
Football in the house!
Now, you can take a wild ride through the spectacular 70s with television's most colorful couple all over again.
You won't believe this, but I was a bull. I mean, I was a bull, a real bull. You want to know something? You know what I did one time? You know what I did? I intercepted a pass.
Yeah?
And I ran for 95 yards. 95 yards, Cher. What do you think of that?
A little bull goes a long way.
And now, on with the headlines.
In the beginning, a scrappy little Italian guy met a glamorous girl with a great big voice. They were Hollywood's odd couple.
You remember when that big bully kicked sand in my face at the beach?
That big bully was me.
Who were the perfect match on stage.
You were going to perform at the White House?
Exactly.
It's funny you don't even perform at our house.
The Sonny and Cher Comedy Hour was goofy, glittery, wholesome fun.
Gold! Gold! I've got gold nuggets!
In this kind of weather, everybody gets cold nuggets.
And it was just naughty enough for nighttime.
Hi, I'm Cher. Fly me for the next 60 minutes.
The family could watch, and everybody got something out of it, and we were funny, and people thought we were weird until they started to get used to us, you know? And then they started to think, oh, these guys are cool and sweet and clean cut. Okay, she doesn't wear much, but that's all right. Somebody likes that in the family.
Won't you stay the night? I'll pay you well.
I'm sorry, Madam Josephine. I have my pride.
I'll let you kiss me.
I still have my pride.
I'll let you put your skinny little delivery man's hands all over my body. How do you like that one?
I still have my pride.
I'll let you go into my boudoir and I'll show you my...
I still have, about 15 minutes before my next delivery.
Everyone came together around Sonny and Cher.
I love your gown. I love your singing, and your comedy timing is excellent. I was listening to the opening monologue, And your songs are great. And Sonny, what's new with you?
Because we all knew a legend when we saw one.
She was a scamp.